The lecture hall was massive. It stretched up toward a dome ceiling that showed the stars outside. Students from hundreds of different worlds sat in curved rows, each seat designed for different body types. Some students floated in special gravity fields. Others rested in pools of liquid. A few breathed different gases through masks attached to their faces. Jiwoo sat near the middle of the hall. She was small compared to many of the other students. Her dark hair was pulled back in a simple tie. She wore the standard academy uniform, a gray suit with her name patch on the chest. Next to her sat Hyun, a tall human with broad shoulders. On her other side was Dayun, who was busy taking notes on her datapad. They were the only humans in this particular class. The Galactic Military Academy accepted students from all species, but humans were still new to the galaxy. Earth had only joined the galactic community 15 years ago. Most species still didn't know much about humanity's homeworld. Commander Velroth stood at the front of the hall. He was huge, nearly 3 meters tall. His body was covered in thick red scales that looked like armor. His eyes were yellow with black slits for pupils. When he moved, his tail swished behind him, sometimes hitting the floor with a heavy thump. He was a Craxian, one of the most respected warrior species in the galaxy. Today we discuss Deathworlds, Velroth announced. His voice was deep and loud. It echoed through the hall without needing any speakers. Most of you come from paradise worlds, gentle places where life is easy. You cannot understand what it means to evolve on a planet that wants you dead. The students shifted in their seats. Some of them looked nervous. Jiwoo noticed a small crystalline student named This actually shaking, its body making soft tinkling sounds. Velroth walked back and forth across the stage. My homeworld, Craxus Prime, is classified as a Class 7 death world. The gravity is 1.4 times galactic standard. Our predators are massive and violent. Our weather systems are brutal. Only the strongest survive to adulthood. He pressed a button and a hologram appeared above the stage. It showed a red planet with dark continents. Massive creatures fought across rocky terrain. Volcanoes erupted in the background. The students gasped and whispered to each other. This environment created my people, Velroth continued. His chest swelled with pride. We learned to fight, to hunt, to dominate. We became the greatest warriors in known space. Why? Because our world demanded it. Evolution is not kind. It is brutal and efficient. A floating gas being named Wisp raised a tentacle-like appendage. Commander, how many other death worlds have produced spacefaring species? Velroth's scales rippled in what might have been a smile. An excellent question. The answer is none. Craxus Prime is unique. We are the only death world species to reach the stars. Every other civilization comes from worlds much gentler than yours. The classroom filled with more whispers. Students looked at the Craxian cadets sitting in the front rows with newfound respect and fear. The Craxians sat up straighter, clearly enjoying the attention. Hyun leaned over to Jiwoo and whispered, "Should we say something?" Jiwoo shook her head slightly. "Wait, let him finish." Velroth continued his lecture. He explained how Craxian biology was superior because of their harsh homeworld. Their scales were nearly impenetrable. Their strength was triple that of most species. Their pain tolerance was legendary. He showed videos of Craxian warriors in battle, their power and skill undeniable. This is why Deathworld species are so rare, Velroth said. Most planets that hostile kill all complex life before it can evolve intelligence. We Craxians are an exception, a miracle of evolution. The galaxy should be grateful we are peaceful. Most of the time. Some students laughed nervously at his joke. Others didn't seem sure if it was a joke. "Now," Velroth said, his yellow eyes scanning the room. "Are there any questions? Any challenges to this information?" The room was silent. No one wanted to challenge the massive warrior. Even the other Craxian students seemed intimidated by their commander. Jiwoo felt Hyun nudge her with his elbow. Dayun looked up from her notes and nodded. The three humans exchanged glances. They had a silent conversation with just their eyes, the way people who had known each other for years could do. Finally, Jiwoo raised her hand. The movement was small, but Velroth noticed immediately. His eyes locked onto her. "Yes, Cadet Jiwoo? You have a question?" "Not a question, sir," Jiwoo said. Her voice was calm and clear. "A correction." The room went completely silent. Even the background hum of the life support system seemed to quiet. Students turned to stare at the small human who dared to correct the famous Commander Velroth. Velroth's scales rippled again. this time in what was definitely amusement. A correction? Please enlighten us, cadet. What have I gotten wrong? Jiwoo stood up slowly. She was small, barely reaching 160 centimeters. Next to the giant Craxian, she looked tiny. But she didn't seem nervous. Her posture was relaxed but confident. You said Craxus Prime is the only death world to produce a spacefaring species, Jiwoo said. That is correct, Velroth replied. With respect, sir, it's not. Jiwoo pulled out her data pad. You've forgotten about Earth. Velroth's expression changed slightly. His head tilted. Earth? Your homeworld? He made a rumbling sound that might have been a laugh. Cadet Jiwoo, I have reviewed Earth's classification. It is listed as a Class 3 garden world. Pleasant climate, abundant resources, moderate conditions. Hardly a death world. Now it was Jiwoo's turn to smile, though her smile was different. It wasn't friendly. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. Sir, with all respect, whoever classified Earth made a serious mistake. Either they didn't visit personally, or they only looked at certain regions. Earth is no garden world, other students began whispering. The Craxians in the front row looked annoyed. One of them, a warrior named Thorvik, called out, Humans are small and weak. Your world must be soft to produce such fragile creatures. Hyun stood up next to Jiwoo. He was bigger than her, with muscles that showed even through the uniform. Want to test that theory after class, Thorvik? His voice was friendly, but there was an edge to it. Cadets, Velroth's voice boomed. Maintain discipline. He looked back at Jiwoo. Very well, cadet, you have made a bold claim. Prove it. Tell us about Earth. Convince us that your homeworld deserves to be called a death world. Jiwoo activated her data pad. A hologram appeared above her desk, showing a blue and green planet rotating slowly. White clouds swirled across its surface. It looked beautiful, peaceful even. Exactly like a garden world should look. Commander Velroth, Jiwoo said. Have you ever heard the full story of Earth? Of how humanity survived against impossible odds? Of the hell that we call home? Velroth crossed his arms. I'm listening. Daun stood up as well, joining her friends. The three humans stood together, and for a moment something changed in the room. There was a feeling in the air, a sense that something important was about to happen. Jiwoo looked around at all the alien students watching her. Then she looked back at Commander Velroth. Then let me tell you about the planet that tried to kill us every single day, she said. Let me tell you about Earth. The hologram of Earth continued to rotate, beautiful and blue, hiding all its terrible secrets beneath those peaceful clouds. Jiwoo touched her datapad and the peaceful image of Earth changed. The hologram zoomed in, showing massive storm systems spiraling across the ocean. Lightning flashed inside the clouds. The storms were bigger than some of the smaller moons in the galaxy. This is a hurricane, Jiwoo explained. Winds reach over 250 kilometers per hour. They form over our oceans and destroy everything in their path. Buildings collapse. Trees are ripped from the ground. Flooding kills thousands if people don't evacuate in time. A delicate insectoid student named Vrix raised a trembling claw. But surely these are rare events. We get dozens every year, Hyun answered. Just in one region of our planet. Other areas have different disasters. The hologram shifted to show a massive funnel cloud touching down on land. It tore through a town, making structures explode into splinters. These are tornadoes, Jiwoo continued. They appear with little warning. They can happen almost anywhere. Some are small. Others are monsters that carve paths of destruction kilometers wide. Commander Velroth watched with interest. His tail had stopped swishing. Natural disasters exist on many worlds, cadet. Even paradise worlds have storms. True, sir, Dawan spoke up. But Earth has every type of disaster. All of them. On one planet. She took control of the hologram with her own datapad. The image changed to show the ground shaking violently. Buildings swayed and collapsed. Cracks opened in the earth, swallowing vehicles. Earthquakes, Dawn said. Our planet's crust is broken into massive plates. These plates move constantly. They grind against each other, building pressure for years or centuries. Then they slip. The energy release can level entire cities. We measure them on a scale, and every year we record thousands of them. Thousands. This, the crystalline student, made a sound like breaking glass. How do you survive? We build stronger, Yun said simply. We learn, we adapt. After every disaster, we study what went wrong and build better for the next time. The hologram changed again. This time it showed a mountain exploding. Red-hot lava poured down its sides, burning everything it touched. Ash clouds rose kilometers into the sky, blocking out the sun. Volcanoes, Jiwoo said. We have over the 500 active ones on Earth. They erupt without much warning. The lava flows at over 1,000 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt metal, fast enough that people can't outrun it. And the ash they release can cool the entire planet, killing crops and causing famines. When was your last major eruption? Velroth asked. Last month, Daewon answered. A smaller one. Only a few dozen casualties. The big ones, though, those can kill millions. One eruption 75,000 years ago almost made humans extinct. Our population dropped to maybe 10,000 individuals. We nearly died out completely. The alien students looked shocked. Wisp, the floating gas being, spoke in a wavering voice. And yet you survived? How? Because giving up isn't in our nature, Hyun said. There was no pride in his voice, just stating a fact. Jiwoo changed the hologram again. Now it showed ocean waves bigger than buildings. They crashed into coastlines, sweeping away everything in their path. Tsunamis, giant waves caused by underwater earthquakes or volcanoes. They travel across entire oceans at the speed of aircraft. When they hit land, they can reach heights of over 30 meters. The hologram continued to shift through different disasters. Massive floods that covered thousands of square kilometers. Landslides that buried entire towns. Sinkholes that opened without warning and swallowed buildings. Wildfires that burned for months, consuming forests larger than some planet's total landmass. But these are just the big disasters, Daewon said. She pulled up a new image. It showed Earth from space with different colored zones marked across its surface. Let's talk about Earth's climate zones. Our planet's axis is tilted 23.5 degrees. This creates extreme seasons in many regions. What do you mean by extreme? Fricks asked nervously. In some places, summer temperatures reach 50 degrees Celsius, Hyun explained. Hot enough to kill humans if they stay outside too long without protection. Then winter comes and those same places drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius. A swing of 90 degrees. The alien students made sounds of disbelief. Velroth's scales had stopped rippling completely. He was watching the humans very carefully now. We have deserts where the heat is so intense that any exposed liquid boils away, Jiwoo continued. Humans caught there without water die in hours. We have polar regions where the cold is so extreme that exposed skin freezes in minutes. And we have jungles so hot and humid that diseases spread like wildfire. Diseases? Theiss asked. Daewon nodded. Oh, we haven't even started on Earth's biological threats yet. Let's talk about those. She pulled up microscopic images. Tiny organisms appeared in the hologram, magnified millions of times. These are bacteria, she explained. Microscopic life forms that are everywhere on Earth. In the air, water, soil, on every surface. Most are harmless. Many are helpful. But some... The image zoomed in on a particularly nasty-looking cluster of cells. Some want to eat us from the inside. The delicate students in the room looked horrified. Wisp actually floated backward away from the hologram as if it might be contagious. Bacteria cause infections, Daewon continued. They enter our bodies through cuts, through the air we breathe, through food and water. They multiply inside us. They release toxins. Before we developed medicine, simple infections killed millions of humans every year. And that's just bacteria, Hyun added. Then there are viruses. Smaller than bacteria. They hijack our cells and turn them into factories that make more viruses. Some viruses killed tens of millions in single pandemics. Pandemics. Frick squeaked. Global disease outbreaks, Jiwoo explained. The worst one in our recent history killed over 50 million people in just 2 years. That was only a century ago. Our medical technology was already advanced by then and it still killed that many. The hologram changed to show various creatures. A massive shark with rows of razor teeth. A big cat with claws as long as fingers. A bear standing 3 meters tall. A crocodile with jaws that could snap bones like twigs. Earth's predators, Hyun said. We share our planet with creatures that see humans as food. This shark can smell blood from kilometers away. This big cat can run at 120 kilometers per hour. This bear is strong enough to flip over a car. This crocodile has the strongest bite force of any living creature on Earth. But surely you are the dominant species now, Velroth said. You have technology. You control your world. Yes and no, Jiwoo answered. We control cities in some areas. But huge parts of Earth are still wild. And even in our cities, nature finds a way in. Every year, people are killed by predators. Every year, diseases spread despite our medicine. Every year, disasters destroy our buildings and we have to rebuild. Daewon pulled up another image. This one showed tiny creatures magnified to huge size. Mosquitoes, ticks, parasitic worms, venomous spiders, scorpions, parasites, she said. Creatures that live on or inside other organisms. This mosquito drinks blood and spreads diseases that kill millions. This tick carries bacteria that can cripple the nervous system. These worms burrow into human tissue and lay eggs. The spider's venom causes flesh to rot and die. Several students looked like they might be sick. The Craxian student Thorvik, who had mocked humans earlier, was no longer smiling. And let's not forget plants, Jiwoo added. We have plants that are poisonous to touch. Plants that cause severe allergic reactions. Plants with thorns that can pierce through thick boots. Even the air we breathe is dangerous during certain seasons because of plant pollen. How do you live like this? This managed to ask, its crystalline body vibrating with fear. The three humans looked at each other. Then Jiwoo answered simply, We adapt, we learn, we build, we fight, we survive, she paused. Or we die. Earth doesn't care which. Commander Velroth stepped forward. His expression was no longer amused. You said Earth is classified as Class 3. This sounds more like Class 7 or higher. That's what we've been trying to tell you, sir, Hyun said. Someone made a mistake. A big one. Earth isn't a garden world. It never was. Jiwoo pulled up one more image. It showed Earth from space again, beautiful and blue and green. But now the students looked at it differently. They saw the storms gathering, the volcanic regions glowing red, the ice caps that could flood coastlines if they melted, the thin atmosphere that was all that protected the surface from deadly radiation from space. This is Earth, Jiwoo said quietly. This is where humanity was born. Where we grew up. Where we learned to survive against odds that should have killed us 1,000,000 times over. The lecture hall was completely silent. Every eye was on the three humans standing together. Commander Velroth stared at the hologram of Earth. His yellow eyes narrowed. If what you say is true, how did your species survive long enough to develop intelligence? Most life on true death worlds never gets that far. Dayun stepped forward. That's the interesting part, sir. We almost didn't survive. Many times we came close to extinction. But we had something that made the difference. What? Velroth asked. Stubbornness, Hyun said with a slight smile. He's not joking. Jiwoo added. Let me tell you about early humans. About how we started. She changed the hologram to show a flat grassland. In the distance, large animals grazed. Predators stalked through tall grass. This is the African savanna, Jiwoo explained, where humanity first appeared millions of years ago. Our earliest ancestors were small, weak. We had no claws, no sharp teeth, no thick hide or armor. We couldn't run very fast compared to predators. We couldn't climb trees well enough to escape everything. We were, by all measures, prey animals. The students watched the hologram show early humans moving in small groups across the dangerous landscape. Large cats watched them from hiding. Pack hunters circled nearby. Everything wanted to eat us, Daun said. Lions, leopards, hyenas, wild dogs. Even giant eagles hunted early humans. We were food. Easy food. Then how did you survive? Asked a student named Crix who had 4 arms and thick armor plating. You just said you were weak. We were weak individually, Hyun agreed. But we learned to work together. We formed groups, families, tribes, we protected each other. One human alone would die quickly. But a group of humans with weapons, with fire, with communication, that was different. Jiwoo changed the hologram to show humans using primitive tools, stone weapons, fire. We learned to make tools. We learned to control fire. These things gave us an advantage. But it wasn't enough. We were still prey, still hunted, so we developed something else. What? Velroth leaned forward slightly. Endurance, Jiwoo said. We couldn't outrun a lion in a sprint, but we could outlast anything over distance. See, most predators on Earth are designed for short, fast attacks. They overheat quickly. They need to rest after exertion. But humans, she smiled, humans can run for hours. Days even, we sweat to cool down. We regulate our body temperature better than almost any other animal on Earth. The hologram showed humans chasing a large antelope across the grassland. The antelope was faster, but every time it stopped to rest, the humans appeared again. They kept coming, never stopping, never giving up. This is persistence hunting, Hyun explained. We would chase prey until it literally collapsed from exhaustion. It could take hours, sometimes a whole day, but we would keep going, and eventually the prey would be too tired to run anymore. That sounds... Vrick searched for words. Terrifying. It was, Dawn agreed. Imagine being hunted by something slower than you, weaker than you, but it never stops coming. You run away. You think you're safe. Then hours later, there it is again. Still coming. Always coming. Until you can't run anymore. Wisp made a sound like wind through hollow tubes. You turned yourselves into the monsters. We turned ourselves into survivors, Jiwoo corrected. Because on Earth, if you're not a survivor, you're dead. The hologram changed to show early humans living through different challenges. Ice sheets covered parts of the planet. Then the ice retreated and jungles grew. Then droughts came and the land dried up. Earth's climate changed constantly, Doan said. Every few thousand years, something major happened. Ice ages that covered half the planet in glaciers. Warming periods that turned grasslands into deserts. Volcanic eruptions that blocked out the sun for years. Each change killed off thousands of species. But not humans, Hyun added. We adapted. When the climate got cold, we learned to make clothes from animal skins. We learned to build shelters. We learned to store food. When areas became too dangerous, we migrated. We walked across entire continents looking for better land. We spread everywhere, Jiwoo said. The hologram showed human migration patterns spreading out from Africa across the whole planet. We went to every environment Earth had. Frozen Arctic regions, burning deserts, dense jungles, high mountains, islands in the ocean, everywhere. And in each place we adapted again, Daun continued. Humans in cold regions developed different traits than humans in hot regions. But we were all still human, all still able to survive. That's another thing about humans. We're adaptable. Put us in a new environment and we figure out how to live there. Velroth's tail swished once. This is impressive. But adaptation is common among intelligent species. What makes humans special? The three humans looked at each other. Hyun spoke first. Our biology is designed for survival. Let me give you examples. He pulled up diagrams of human anatomy. Human bones are incredibly strong for their weight, he explained. They're not solid. They're built like the support structures in buildings. This makes them strong but light. And when they break, he pulled up a medical scan showing a broken bone healing. They heal themselves. The body grows new bone tissue. In a few months, the break is completely repaired. Our skin is the same way, Da-Yun added. Cut human skin and it immediately starts repairing itself. Blood clots to stop bleeding. New cells grow to close the wound. In a week or two, the cut is healed. We even form scars, tougher tissue that protects the area. We get sick and our bodies fight back, Jiwoo said. She showed an image of the human immune system. These white blood cells patrol our bodies constantly, looking for threats. Bacteria, viruses, parasites. When they find something dangerous, they attack it. They learn to recognize specific threats. If the same disease comes back, our immune system remembers it and destroys it faster. Your bodies fight diseases automatically? Thais asked in wonder. Every second of every day, Hyun confirmed. If our immune system stopped working, we'd die within days. Earth is so full of dangerous microorganisms that we need constant protection. So our bodies evolved to provide it. Belroth was quiet for a moment. What about pain? How do humans handle injury? Jiwoo smiled grimly. We feel pain. It warns us of damage, but humans have high pain tolerance compared to most species. We have to. Getting hurt is common on Earth. If we stopped functioning every time we got injured, we'd never survive. She pulled up medical records. These are examples from human history. This soldier continued fighting for 10 minutes with a serious chest wound. This athlete finished a race with a broken leg. This worker saved others from a fire despite severe burns. Humans can push through pain when they need to. Is this common? Asked Crix. Common enough, Hyun said. We call it adrenaline. When humans are in danger, our bodies release chemicals that reduce pain, increase strength, and speed up reflexes. It's an emergency response. It lets us do things we normally couldn't do. We once had a case, Da-Yun said, where a human mother lifted a vehicle off her trapped child. The vehicle weighed over a ton. She shouldn't have been physically able to lift it. But the adrenaline response gave her temporary strength beyond normal limits. The students looked amazed and frightened. Velroth was taking notes now on his own datapad. Let's talk about human psychology, Jiwoo said, because that's important too. Living on Earth shaped how we think. The hologram showed human brains with different areas lighting up. Humans are exceptionally good at pattern recognition, Jiwoo explained. We see patterns everywhere, we had to. Recognizing patterns meant recognizing danger. That movement in the grass might be wind or it might be a predator. Humans who were better at spotting the difference survived longer. This made us paranoid, Hyun admitted. Humans often see threats that aren't there. We call it anxiety. But it's better to be too careful than not careful enough. On Earth, one mistake could mean death. We're also social creatures, Daeun said. Humans need other humans. We form families, communities, nations. We cooperate on massive scales. But we also compete, we fight. Sometimes against other groups, sometimes against nature itself. And we never give up, Jiwoo added. That's maybe the most important thing. Humans have this psychological trait where we refuse to accept defeat. Even when things seem hopeless, we keep trying. We keep fighting. We keep looking for solutions. She changed the hologram to show various human achievements. Ancient structures built by hand. Ships crossing dangerous oceans. Early aircraft. Spacecraft leaving Earth's atmosphere. We looked at the ocean and said, we'll cross it, Jiwoo said. We looked at mountains and said, we'll climb them. We looked at the sky and said, we'll fly. We looked at space and said, we'll go there. Earth told us no 1,000,000 times. And every time we found a way to do it anyway. Commander Velroth stood up from where he had been leaning against his desk. He walked closer to the humans. You paint a picture of a species forged in fire. Not just fire, Hyun said. Fire, ice, storms, predators, diseases, disasters. Everything Earth had. We survived all of it. Or rather, Daeun corrected, enough of us survived all of it. Billions of humans died throughout history. But some always survived. And we learned from every death, every disaster, every failure. Jiwoo looked at Velroth directly. You asked how we survived long enough to develop intelligence. The answer is barely. We almost went extinct many times. But every time, a few humans somewhere survived. And those survivors taught their children how to survive. And those children, T. Thorvik, the Craxian student who had mocked humans earlier, stood up. His red scales were darker now, a sign of embarrassment in his species. I spoke poorly before. I apologize, but I still don't understand. You describe Earth as terrible, but you look so... He searched for words. Fragile, Hyun nodded. We get that a lot. And you're right in some ways. Human bodies are softer than Craxian scales. We don't have natural armor. We don't have claws or fangs. But fragile? He smiled. Let me show you something. He pulled up comparison charts on the hologram. This measures endurance across different species. How long can you run before exhaustion? The chart showed Craxians near the top for short bursts. Then it showed the long-distance measurements. Humans were far above everyone else. A trained human can run over 160 kilometers without stopping, Hyun explained. Some have run over 500 kilometers in a few days. Craxians are built for power. Short bursts of incredible strength and speed. Humans are built for endurance. We keep going long after other species have collapsed. Distance running isn't combat, Thorvik pointed out. No, but it's survival, Jiwoo replied. And combat is about more than just strength. Let me ask you something, Thorvik. What's the gravity on Craxus Prime? 1.4 times standard, Thorvik answered with pride. Earth is 1.2 times standard, Jiwoo said. Not as high as Craxus Prime, but higher than 80% of spacefaring species. We're stronger than we look because we grew up in higher gravity. She demonstrated by doing a quick set of push-ups right there in the lecture hall. Her movements were smooth and easy. This is normal exercise for humans. We do this to stay healthy. In lower gravity environments, we have to be careful not to accidentally hurt others by misjudging our strength. Daeun added more data to the hologram. Let's talk about survival rates. This is data from Galactic Academy training exercises over the past 10 years. It shows injury rates, completion rates, and withdrawal rates across different species. The numbers appeared. Craxians had high completion rates and low withdrawal rates as expected. But humans had something interesting. The lowest withdrawal rate of any species and injury rates that were high, but not as high as their completion rate suggested they should be. Humans get injured more often than Craxians in training, Daeun explained, but we rarely withdraw. We fight through injuries that would make other species quit. A broken bone? We'll put it in a cast and keep training. Torn muscles? We'll rest for a few days, then come back. Concussion? We'll recover and return. That seems unwise, Frick said. Injury should be taken seriously. We do take it seriously, Hyun said. We just have a different definition of serious. On Earth, you don't stop moving just because you're hurt. Predators don't care if you're injured. Storms don't wait for you to heal. You push through pain or you die. It's that simple. Velroth had been studying the data carefully. These training records show something else interesting. Human teams perform better in long-term exercises. Why? Jiwoo smiled. Because we're used to it. Earth taught us to think long-term. A hunt might take days. Building a shelter might take weeks. Growing crops takes months. Surviving winter takes planning and preparation. We learned patience and persistence. Show them the Titan Station exercise from last year, Hyun suggested. Daeun pulled up the records. This was a survival exercise. Multiple species teams were dropped on a hostile moon with minimal supplies. They had to survive for 2 weeks and reach an extraction point 200 kilometers away. The hologram showed the results. Most teams were extracted early due to injuries or equipment failure. The Craxian team made it 12 days before severe injuries forced their extraction. The human team completed the full 2 weeks and reached the extraction point with 3 days to spare. How? Thorvik asked. Our team was stronger, better equipped. But you pushed too hard at the start, Hyun explained. You tried to cover maximum distance each day. That led to exhaustion and injuries. The human team paced themselves. We walked steadily, conserved energy, rationed supplies carefully. We treated it like a marathon, not a sprint. Earth teaches patience, Jiwoo added. Quick solutions often fail. Steady progress wins. Belroth brought up another topic. What about temperature tolerance? Craxians can survive in extreme heat that would kill most species. True, Daeun acknowledged. But let's compare ranges. She pulled up data. Craxians function best between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius. Outside that range, your performance drops significantly. Below 20 degrees, you become sluggish. Below 10 degrees, you enter a hibernation state. And humans? Felroth asked. Humans function from about -20 to +50 degrees Celsius without protective gear, Daeun said. Not comfortably, but functionally. With basic clothing, we extend that to -40 to +55. With proper equipment, we've survived in -90 degree conditions and +70 degree conditions. The alien students reacted with surprise. Wisp spoke up. That range is incredible. How? Because Earth has that range, Hyun explained. Different regions have different temperatures. But humans live everywhere. Arctic regions where it's -50 in winter. Desert regions where it's +50 in summer. We had to adapt to all of it, Jiwoo added. Plus humans are warm-blooded and regulate our temperature actively. We shiver to generate heat. We sweat to cool down. We adapt our clothing to conditions. This makes us versatile. Let's talk about another advantage, Daeun said. She seemed excited about this part. Human healing speed. I mentioned this before, but let me be specific. She showed medical scans. This is a human with a broken arm. Day 1, the break is severe. Day 7, bone growth is visible. Day 30, the bone is mostly healed. Day 60, it's fully healed and as strong as before. This is a severe cut, she continued, showing another scan. Day 1, wound is deep. Day 3, new skin is forming. Day 7, wound is closed. Day 14, only a scar remains. Compare this to other species, Hyun said. The hologram showed healing rates for various aliens. Most species heal slower than humans. Some much slower. A break that takes humans 2 months might take Craxians 4 months. Other species 6 months or more. Why do humans heal so fast? Asked Crix. Evolution, Jiwoo answered. On Earth, getting injured is common. Humans who healed faster had better survival rates. So over millions of years, we developed faster healing. Our bodies are designed to repair damage quickly because damage happens often. There's something else, Hyun said quietly. Something important about human psychology and combat. The room went quiet. Everyone sensed this was important. Humans have a psychological response to extreme danger, Hyun continued. We already mentioned adrenaline, but there's more. When humans are truly threatened, when death seems certain, something changes in our minds. We stop feeling fear, Jiwoo said. Or rather, the fear becomes fuel. We become calm, focused, efficient. We call it various things. Combat mode. Survival instinct. The zone. I've experienced it, Daeun added. During a training accident last year, there was an explosion. 3 of us were trapped in a burning building. I remember everything becoming very clear. No panic, no confusion. Just calm analysis. Find exit, help others. Move efficiently. We all survived. Humans in this state are dangerous, Hyun said. We ignore pain. We don't hesitate. We do whatever is necessary to survive. It's not conscious. It's instinct. Millions of years of evolution telling us survive at all costs. Thorvik looked uncomfortable. We Craxians have battle rage. We become stronger when angry. It's not the same, Jiwoo said. Battle rage is emotion. What humans experience is the opposite. It's the absence of emotion. Cold, calculated, efficient. Velroth spoke up. I've seen this in combat reports. Human soldiers in desperate situations performing impossible feats. I always thought the reports were exaggerated. They probably weren't, Yun said. Humans are capable of incredible things when survival is on the line. We lift impossible weights. We endure impossible pain. We keep fighting long after we should be dead. Because that's what Earth taught us, Dayun added. Survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about refusing to die. Jiwoo pulled up one final comparison. It showed casualty rates from the recent border conflict with a hostile species. Look at these numbers. Craxian units had 15% casualties. Very low, very good. Human units had 45% casualties. That makes humans look weak, Thorvik said, confused. Keep reading, Jiwoo said. Craxian fatality rate among casualties 60%. Human fatality rate among casualties 12%. The room went silent as they processed this. Rix finally spoke. You got hurt more often but died less often. Exactly, Yun said. Craxians avoid injury because injury is very dangerous for them. Humans get injured more because we take more risks, but we survive our injuries more often. We're harder to kill. We call it the hard-to-kill factor, Dayun explained. Among military species, humans have the lowest fatality rate despite having high injury rates. We survive wounds that would kill others. We recover from injuries that would cripple others. We keep fighting when others would retreat. It's not that we're better warriors, Jiwoo said. Craxians are stronger. Other species are faster or better armed naturally. But humans are survivors. Earth made us very, very hard to kill. Commander Velroth looked at his notes, though. The lecture hall remained quiet. Students were processing everything they had learned. The beautiful blue planet rotating in the hologram no longer looked peaceful. It looked like what it was. A beautiful nightmare. Commander Velroth sat down slowly at his desk. For a being of his size, it was a strange gesture. It made him seem almost vulnerable. I have taught this course for 20 years, he said quietly. I have studied Deathworlds extensively. I believed I understood them. But Earth, he paused. Earth is something different. Different how, sir? Thais asked, its crystalline body no longer shaking with fear but rather vibrating with curiosity. Velroth gestured to the hologram. Craxus Prime is brutal. The gravity is crushing. The predators are massive. The environment is harsh. But it is consistent. We know what to expect. We evolved with those specific challenges. Earth, though, he looked at Jiwoo. Earth is chaos. Yes, sir, Jiwoo agreed. That's a good word for it. Chaos, you never know what's coming next. Earthquake? Storm? Drought? Disease? Predator? Something else entirely? Earth keeps you guessing. Keeps you adapting. Stop adapting and you die, Hyun added. That's why humans seem so flexible. We have to be. A survival strategy that works in one situation might fail in another, so we learn to think creatively. To improvise. To try new things when old things stop working. Thorvik raised his hand hesitantly. When Velroth nodded, he stood up. I apologize again for my earlier words. I see now that I judged humans unfairly. But I have a question. Go ahead, Jiwoo said. You describe Earth as terrible, as constantly dangerous, as a place that wants you dead. So why do you love it? The three humans looked at each other in surprise. What makes you think we love it? Dayun asked. The way you talk about it, Thorvik explained. Yes, you describe the dangers. But there's something else in your voices. Pride, maybe. Or affection. You don't sound like people who hate their homeworld. Jiwoo smiled softly. It was a different expression than her earlier smiles. This one was genuine, warm. You're perceptive, Thorvik. You're right. We do love Earth. Despite everything, or maybe because of everything. I don't understand, Wisp said, floating closer. How can you love something that tried to kill you? Because it made us who we are, Hyun explained. He pulled up a new image on the hologram. Not disasters this time. Instead, it showed Earth's beauty. Massive mountains reaching toward the sky. Oceans stretching to the horizon. Forests full of life. Deserts painted in shades of red and gold. Earth is dangerous, Hyun said. But it's also the most beautiful place in the galaxy, at least to us. Dawn added more images. A sunrise over an ocean. Northern lights dancing across the night sky. A thunderstorm seen from a distance, lightning illuminating the clouds. Earth taught us to appreciate beauty, she said. Because beauty on Earth is temporary. A perfect sunny day might become a storm by evening. Flowers bloom, but then they die. Nothing lasts forever, so we learn to appreciate the moment. Earth taught us other things too, Jiwoo said. It taught us humility. No matter how strong we become, how advanced our technology, Earth reminds us that nature is stronger. It taught us cooperation because alone we die, but together we survive. It taught us hope because even after the worst disasters, life returns. It taught us curiosity because we always wondered what was over the next mountain, across the next ocean, beyond the next horizon. She looked around at all the alien students. Earth is our mother. Yes, she's harsh. Yes, she's dangerous. But she made us. And despite everything, we love her. The room was quiet for a moment. Then Crick spoke up. I come from a paradise world. Life is easy there. Everything we need is abundant. Weather is always mild. Predators are small and rare. But you know what? We're weak because of it. We have no challenges to overcome. No struggles to make us stronger. Hearing about Earth, I almost feel envious. Several other students made sounds of agreement. Even some who had looked horrified earlier now seemed thoughtful. Velroth stood up again. This has been enlightening. But I have one more question for you three. He looked at each human in turn. Why didn't Earth's classification as a Class 3 get corrected earlier? Surely other species visited Earth before humans joined the galactic community. Dayun nodded. They did, sir. But here's the thing. They visited Earth during calm periods. They landed in temperate zones during good weather. They saw our forests and oceans and mountains. They saw beautiful landscapes and diverse life. They took readings that showed moderate gravity, breathable atmosphere, abundant water. On paper, Earth looked like a paradise. What they didn't see, Hyun continued, was that even those calm periods are temporary. They didn't see the hurricane season, the earthquake zones, the volcanic eruptions, the ice ages we've survived. They saw a snapshot of Earth at its calmest and assumed that was normal. Plus, Jiwoo added, humans were primitive when they first visited. We didn't have advanced technology yet. The aliens saw us using stone tools and living in small groups. They thought, this must be a gentle world to produce such simple creatures. They didn't realize we were simple because we'd spent all our evolutionary energy just surviving. A grave error, Velroth said. One that will need to be corrected. Earth should be reclassified immediately. With respect, sir, Jiwoo said. Many humans would prefer you didn't. Velroth's scales rippled in surprise. Why not? Because it gives us an advantage, Hyun said with a slight grin. Other species underestimate us. They think we're from a soft world. They're not prepared for what humans can actually do. By the time they realize their mistake, we've already proven ourselves. That seems manipulative, Frick said. It's strategic, Dayun corrected. Earth taught us to use every advantage, and being underestimated is an advantage. Velroth made a sound that might have been a laugh. Clever, very clever. I begin to see why the Galactic Council accepted humanity so quickly, despite your short time in space. You think like survivors, like warriors, like Deathworlders. We are Deathworlders, Jiwoo said simply. We just didn't advertise it. The bell chimed, signaling the end of the lecture period. Students began gathering their things, but nobody rushed to leave. They lingered, looking at the humans with new eyes. Thorvik approached the three humans. Would you be willing to share more about Earth sometime? Perhaps over a meal? We'd like that, Hyun said, extending his hand in the human greeting gesture. Thorvik looked at the hand uncertainly, then carefully took it. Hyun shook it gently. But I should warn you, human food might be too spicy for you. Earth plants and spices are intense. Even your food is dangerous, Thorvik asked in disbelief. We eat things that would be poison to most species, Doan said cheerfully. Capsaicin and peppers activates pain receptors. We eat it for fun. Alcohol is technically a toxin. We drink it socially. Chocolate contains compounds that are deadly to many animals. We love it, Wisp floated over. You consume poisons recreationally? In small amounts, Jiwoo assured them. Our livers are very efficient at processing toxins. We had to develop that ability. So many things on Earth are mildly toxic. We adapted? Of course you did, Wisp said. Is there anything about Earth that isn't trying to kill you? The three humans thought about it. Puppies? Hyun suggested. What are puppies? Fricks asked. Baby dogs, Dayon explained. Dogs are descended from wolves, pack predators with powerful jaws and sharp teeth, but humans domesticated them thousands of years ago. Now they're our companions. Puppies are small and cute and friendly. You domesticated predators? Crix's forearms waved in agitation. Of course you did. Why am I surprised? More students came over to talk to the humans. Questions flowed freely now. What's the biggest predator on Earth? Have you personally survived a natural disaster? Is it true humans can drink liquids hot enough to cause burns? Do you really keep predators as pets? The humans answered patiently, enjoying the attention and the chance to share their world with others. Commander Velroth watched from his desk. He was updating his lecture notes, adding everything he had learned today. Next to him, another instructor had entered. Commander Silthex, a graceful being from a water world. I heard interesting sounds from your classroom, Silthex said. Your students seemed more engaged than usual. We had a revelation today, Velroth replied. I learned that my knowledge was incomplete. Humans come from what might be the most dangerous inhabited world in known space. The small ones? Silthex looked at the humans surrounded by curious students. They seem harmless. That's what I thought, Velroth said. I was wrong. They are survivors of a planet that makes Craxus Prime look gentle by comparison. They are endurance hunters, persistence predators, adaptive generalists, and clever strategists all in one package. Impressive, Silthex said. But they're still small. Velroth's scales rippled in what was definitely amusement now. Size isn't everything. I learned that today. Humans taught me something important. It's not about being the biggest or the strongest or the fastest. It's about refusing to quit, about adapting to anything, about surviving no matter what. He watched Jiwoo laughing at something Thorvik said, completely at ease despite being surrounded by aliens twice her size. Humans are dangerous precisely because they don't seem dangerous. They look soft. They act friendly. They smile and joke and cooperate.